I met Lily for the first time during our college years, and honestly, I never imagined we'd last. She was quiet, shy, and deeply insecure, one of those girls who could disappear into the background without anyone noticing. Like a timid little mouse, she rarely drew attention. Back then, I didn't love her. To be blunt, I was just chasing another name to add to my list. But then something started to shift. She began hitting the gym, visiting beauty salons more often, and within a year, she was transformed. The once awkward, unassuming girl had grown into a striking woman, someone people actually turned to look at. I quietly patted myself on the back, thinking I'd had something to do with it. My friends envied me, saying I'd locked her down while she was still naive and that I'd taught her things you'd barely see in adult films. Lily turned out to be both irresistibly passionate and heartbreakingly sweet. And soon, I realized I had no desire to be with anyone else. After graduation, I asked her to marry me. A year later, we became parents. Surprisingly, our relationship didn't falter one bit. We still loved each other just as deeply, and we respected each other's need for space. I never doubted her loyalty. The idea of her being unfaithful never even crossed my mind. She poured herself into raising our daughter, teaching her, playing with her, nurturing her, and when our little girl was at daycare, Lily tackled the endless list of household chores with amazing dedication. While many of our friends and neighbors were getting divorced, the idea never entered our heads. We were genuinely, quietly happy, day after day. People would ask us how we stayed so in love all those years, and we'd just smile and shrug it off. There wasn't some grand secret. We just truly loved each other. When we took out a mortgage, Lily started working too. She landed a job in an all-female office, and most days she came home completely drained, venting about the toxic drama she had to deal with, a nest of vipers, she called it. I felt bad, so I tried to give her little escapes whenever I could, sending her and our daughter on trips to different parts of the world. It was lonely when they were away, but I never held that against her. I understood she needed time for herself. Gradually, Lily began to change again. She became calmer, stopped arguing with her coworkers, and right before major holidays, her team even started organizing office parties. Eventually, things at work seemed to settle down. One day, just before New Year's, she told me there was going to be a company party. I didn't think much of it. I wanted her to enjoy herself. She wore a dress so short I actually made a comment about it. She just laughed and reminded me I was the one who picked it out when we were shopping together. I had to admit, over the years she'd become breathtaking, her figure caviar, more mature, and wherever she went, men couldn't help but notice. But since her office was made up entirely of women, I didn't see a reason to ask her to change. I kissed her goodbye and reminded her to be home by 10. She smiled and promised she would, but I gave her some leeway, told her she could stay out until 11 if she wanted. I figured she deserved to have fun. After she left, I helped our daughter with her homework, glancing at the clock from time to time. At exactly 10 o'clock, Lily called. She sounded happy and told me the party was going great. I was glad to hear it and gently reminded her it was almost time to come home. But then 11 o'clock came and went, and she still hadn't shown up. I started to get angry. This wasn't like her. Lily had never broken a promise before. Not once. I kept calling her over and over, but she didn't pick up once, and with every unanswered call, my frustration built higher. Where was she, and who exactly was she out with? After putting our daughter to bed, I lay awake, my mind spinning with every possible scenario. A couple of hours later, my phone finally lit up. It was Lily. But instead of being apologetic, she scolded me for blowing up her phone. The moment I heard her voice, I could tell she was completely drunk. And then I caught something in the background. Men's voices. My heart dropped, and my temper snapped. I told her to come home immediately, but all I got in return was a drunken giggle. I was yelling so loud into the phone that it woke our daughter, who came into the room frightened. I had no choice but to hang up, silently hoping she'd come home soon. But I couldn't have been more wrong. At 5 in the morning, my phone rang again. This time, Lily said she was finally grabbing a cab. I'd been standing by the window nearly all night, so I kept watch. About half an hour later, I saw her step out, not from a regular taxi, but from a sleek high-end car. And I knew instantly, that wasn't some hired ride. It belonged to a man. Likely one she'd been out with. She stumbled her way toward the door, clearly drunk out of her mind. But the state she was in, that wasn't even the worst part. When I opened the door, she looked like a total wreck. Her hair was a tangled mess, her stockings were torn, and everything about her appearance screamed of being completely used up. I couldn't stop myself. I gave her a small shove out of sheer disbelief and rage. And that's when I noticed it, a hickey on her neck. Trying to keep myself together, I started asking her what happened. But she could barely stand, slurring out that she was just having fun. I didn't need her to spell it out. Her appearance said everything. She'd clearly spent the night with someone, maybe more than one person. I was stunned. I'd never imagined she could go that far. Our daughter woke up again, but I wouldn't let her get near Lily. My wife didn't even seem to register that our child was awake. She just wandered toward the bathroom like she was on autopilot. After all that chaos, she collapsed and slept through the entire day. I spent those long hours feeling broken, trying to process everything. I kept coming back to one painful thought. I was the one who told her to go enjoy herself. I'd trusted her. Whenever I was unsure about big decisions, I turned to my mom. She's always been the voice of reason in my life, encouraging peace and reminding me how lucky I was to have such a sweet, innocent wife. But the moment I told her what had happened, I could hear her tone change. Even she was stunned. After that call, I made my decision. There was no going back. I was going to file for divorce. Her betrayal was too blatant to deny. Later that day, I went straight to the courthouse and began the paperwork. When I got home, Lily had finally woken up. She was still hungover, clearly trying to piece things together, trying to win me over. I looked her straight in the eye and asked if she had cheated. She didn't even try to lie. She nodded and collapsed to the floor, begging me for forgiveness. I stepped back like she was poison. At that moment, I didn't see my wife. I saw a stranger. She knew how seriously I took loyalty, how unforgivable betrayal was to me. And she still went ahead and did it. She looked crushed, ashamed, but I felt nothing except deep revulsion. I didn't even want to hear her excuses. What surprised me most was how our daughter reacted. She came to me, said she wanted to stay with me after the divorce. That moment brought a huge sense of relief. She was only 10, but her clarity shocked me. I was grateful. I didn't want her growing up in a home with someone who'd thrown everything away. I was ready to start over. So, I packed our things and moved to a different city where I already had a small apartment waiting. My daughter adjusted quickly. She made new friends and never once seemed to miss the life we'd left behind. As for Lily, she drifted from one man to another, like she was making up for lost time, chasing bedroom adventures instead of stability. I guess that's the path she chose for herself. And that's where my story wraps up. Thanks for sticking around and hearing me out. If this story meant something to you, feel free to share it. Take care of yourselves.